Welcome everyone back to another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son George. I was my mother's caregiver after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Sadly, she passed on 1/1/2020, and we started Together for Sharon.com in her memory and to advocate for a cure for all those still battling Parkinson's today and their families, because no one is ever alone in this fight for a cure. Today's guest is someone who inspires me, and we have a lot of important topics to come to, but one photo I remember, and we'll show it today, is her jumping for kind of joy and exercise. And that's really what not only inspires me, but keeps me going. Lisa's an author too, but also a friend and someone I call family in this fight for a cure. So welcome, Lisa, to the show. It's really exciting to finally get the opportunity to advocate together.
Thank you. I feel so totally honored to be talking to you today. So thank you.
Well, this show is only here for one reason. That's because you all inspire me and also everybody listening. There's some tough times we all have in life, but really brings us together, this mission, and it's really a movement. It's not even, I've been doing this only 5 years, which sounds like, oh, I mean, it actually is a long time, but I'm just shocked that there's still journeys out there that I'm not aware of. And when I discovered yours, it kind of it stops me for a minute and it is close to my heart. So maybe you could tell our listeners today a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I live in Australia and I'm 51, and I was diagnosed with Parkinson's 4 years ago now. And it started with a slight tremor in my dominant hand. And as most people can probably understand, getting to the point of an actual Parkinson's diagnosis is can be quite difficult. So it took me three neurologists to actually, get told that I had Parkinson's. And I think, it was probably a good length of time that I was in shock and I struggled and was on, potentially could have gone down a downward spiral. But I think, I just started to embrace what my life looked like and enjoy good quality of life. And, Parkinson's as a result has given me more than it's taken away from me. And, now I spend a lot of time helping other people because that's what heals me.
Yeah, that's the one thing. It's so odd to say, but there's obviously tough sides. There's loss like I have had, but there's also a brighter side at the end of the tunnel. Obviously, we can't bring those we've loved back due to Parkinson, but I've met so many people like yourself that I consider family, and kind of funny because many nights I don't sleep, but I'm texting with people around the world now because time zones and things, and it's like just
Yeah.
a beautiful. I mean, literally 365 days a year, 24/7, I have someone I can call for and to also be there for maybe going through this. So thank you for sharing that and joining us. Again, we have a lot to talk about, but I'm curious. I know we're time differences, but what is it like for the medical world for people with Parkinson's in Australia? Because I know you mentioned you had to find three doctors. We tried 15 doctors in the US and didn't help. So again, not their fault, just the disease. But just curious, about the healthcare and how did you finally, find that third one that helped you? And also, well, I'll ask the next. There's so much to say.
I know, I know. Yeah, look, I think obviously I'm not a doctor. I'm a patient that's had to go through the process. I think what I've recognised is it's very difficult to identify Parkinson's, from an MRI scan, and it's probably what led me to the book. I found myself talking to doctors and even taking medication for Parkinson's, even though they were not 100% convinced that that's what I had. And if you really think about that, that's actually quite shocking. So that was when I really started to probably push the boundaries a little bit and start to really advocate for my own care. And, I did the research and, every time I met with a neurologist, and still now today, I drive the conversation. I'm the one that talks about the change in my symptoms and what they could be about and how we could manage them. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the medical profession over here. I just think, with Parkinson's, as you would know, everybody has different symptoms and everybody seems to react differently to medication. So I think I feel sorry for them in a little bit because it is so hard to diagnose and get everything right. which is why we've just got to keep asking questions and searching.
Yeah, one thing was saddened by, but also now glad I know. When my mother passed, we knew there were about 1.2 million people in the U.S., but in my world, I didn't even think out of the U.S. That's the problem, I think, with advocacy. 2 years passed after she, passed away, and I discovered the World Parkinson Congress, and that really changed my life. In a way, it was heartbreaking to now know that 10 million people in the world are going through this, but I did learn that I feel we have to be a family. It's not just about me and my mother. It's about everybody, and it's a worldwide thing because, as you know, and most of our listeners, Parkinson does not discriminate. It affects people around the world. And I did 1,000 interviews, including one beautiful one, which I'd like to actually share now, and that's with you. And this is probably one of my favorite pictures ever because obviously Parkinson's brings individuals down. I mean, my mother struggled, but you show, in my opinion, that there's hope and that you can still smile through all this. And this should be kind of like somewhere hung up permanently around the world for, I think is it not only is it beautiful, but again, it's different. That's what I love is stories that inspire me. I don't get paid for this. We don't accept money for this. So we really just do this for passion and for a cure. So I want to thank you anyway again. So today's about thanking, but for doing this interview, and it's been a short time, but it's incredible how quickly time goes. Before you know it, we'll be friends for a long time. But I do want to also point everyone for a moment. So if you go to togetherwithsharon.com, click interviews, completely again free. You can see a lot more with Lisa about her background and a lot more in depth, which I wish we had the time. But one thing I did want to touch on is your YouTube. I think it's a great place, and I like to do this live. So now we subscribe, and look how quick everyone. It takes 1 second, so there's no excuse to join Lisa and help support her. But maybe you could talk us a little bit through your YouTube and why everyone needs to jump in here and click one little button and subscribe now.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I started the YouTube channel a couple of years ago because I think for me, I was just looking for something just really raw and real, and I wanted to know whether what I was going through was normal, if you can say that.
Yes, I thought I would share with you today my favourite piece of equipment to use at
Sorry, there. I wanted to. Sometimes there's a way to play it while you talk, so you can. Sorry about.
No, that's okay. But what it's turned into, I specifically called it Positively Parkinson's because from the outset, I think it is really important that we do go down this journey with a positive frame of mind. And it's really turned into we've got a bit of a tribe now on my YouTube channel from all over the world, and I've had lots of people contact me with things about Parkinson's that I didn't know about. So it's really helped me. But I think for me, it's just such a strong tribe. It's such beautiful people that we're all fighting the same fight and we just support each other. And I love that. And I'm really happy that you're sharing that. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, I like playing it, but I notice not to bore everyone with the technology, it freezes everything. But I do hope everyone will go and support you. You have a huge following. I always say I won't rest till you have at least 1 million subscriber. So I have some work to do still. But this is again how you reach out, and we'll add this to the show notes, everyone, so you don't have to worry about noting it this moment. Also now, which is I wanted to give a drum roll, which I tried the drums, it didn't work out on the last part, but we just imagine everyone the drum roll, and this is your book. I wanted to know if you could, tell us about what brought you to the world of wanting to write a book, and also maybe you could touch on a little bit about, the whole purpose and what you found from this beautiful thing that really should be around the world and is through Amazon. I encourage everyone to click, well, I'll provide the link, but you can also purchase it directly right after the show.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? I never saw myself writing a book. And I'm actually, really proud of myself for writing the book. Like I said early on, I was listening to a podcast and someone said Parkinson's gives you more than it takes away from you. And I remember at the time going, oh, that cannot be true. But I've written a book now, and I'd certainly never thought that I would have done that. But the book for me was when I was diagnosed, I started doing a mind-body practitioner course because I really wanted to understand how the brain impacted the rest of our body. And certainly with Parkinson's, we all know why that's so important. And a lot of stuff I researched was probably a lot of medical jargon that I really didn't understand. All I knew was what I was going through. So I wanted to write just a simplistic, raw and real journey. I've tried to make it a bit humorous because there is, bits in there that, it's a little bit embarrassing to share, but like I said, it's raw and real. But it's a very simple read, and it talks about balancing holistic health with medication. It gives you some options around, becoming an advocate in your journey, or, just sort of doing the research, not accepting your diagnosis, just really pushing the boundaries and going, okay, I've got this illness, but I'm still going to have an amazing life. And I'm going to make sure I'm healthy, and I'm going to make sure I meditate. I'm going to make sure I do as much as possible so I have the best quality life I can with Parkinson's. So it's been really cool, actually.
And I love it. How does it change, how individuals reach out to you, and has it changed a lot now by having a book out there? And it's so
Oh,
recent.
I've had so many people reach out to me. And one of the things we've found with Parkinson's is the Parkinson's community are really kind people. That has just screamed at me every day. And I have so many people share their journey with me, ask for some support. Like I said, we talk about, what diets are best for us, all of these sorts of things. It's just been incredible. And I do hope that, I do hope that people read it and, put it down and go, do you know what? My life is still going to be amazing because I'm going to make sure of it.
No, I love it. And I'm just writing a note that I want to follow you. So that's the fun part. If you're all out there, when you become an author, you just click someone's name, and we'll be both following each other. So after the show, I'll be doing that. And that's exciting. And also, you can contact and follow also for you business people, folk out there on LinkedIn, which is a great resource. And one I liked a lot was this summer. I was lucky enough to join you on this list, but this is a different one, and I can see a few people here were really close with. This is Barbara and her work, and then here they depicted yours too. Parkinson's Europe, which is another great, outstanding organization. I wanted to actually ask you if you've been able in Australia to work with other big organizations like Australia, Parkinson's Australia, who I've interviewed, or Parkinson's Europe. What kind of support is there out there in your part of the woods, to, because it might be harder to reach, I mean, I'm in Florida. I don't want to say much, but I don't think we have a huge community of events here, unfortunately. You would think Palm Beach, which is massive fundraising for politics, but not for Parkinson's, and it's kind of heartbreaking also. We do have a, big national organization, but they'll have a walk a year and a few things, but not what I really thought we would have. And this, it's a very high uh, elderly population, Boca Raton, Florida, and South Florida. I just thought there'd be, a lot more. So I'm just curious comparing to somewhere like Australia.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we have Parkinson's Australia here, which is fantastic, and we have obviously early onset Parkinson's here, which is what I was diagnosed with. And certainly very early on in my journey, they were great to reach out to because they offered a lot of, like brain fitness studio and places like this that you can go to, early on and really start to understand. I think it's interesting because for me, I look at it the other way, especially probably with my YouTube and with my book, a lot of it has been actually in America. A lot of people that reach out to me are from America. So I found that really interesting. But they're very supportive here. But you did say something that I think is a challenge. I remember going to a Parkinson's conference here when I was first diagnosed, and it was filled with a lot of older people, not early onset Parkinson's. And I think that can be a little bit challenging as well, because as you can understand, the progression of the disease or how it impacts you depending on your age can be quite significant. And so I know at the time I actually found it a little bit confronting. at the time, but it was early on in my diagnosis. So I tend to lean more towards the early onset Parkinson's, community in Australia.
And that's why I do love the show, even though that's my show. It sounds funny, but the reason you like to take important topics that I don't see discussed enough. One thing I have really strong and proud of the show is we've had over like probably 50 now incredible women, strong women, independent that have young onset. And we've talked about some issues, even female issues that are important. Like I know a lot of people don't even think of having, being pregnant while having Parkinson's and things like,
Correct.
hormones and so many different issues that again, I'm a man, so you think he doesn't care. No, but I learn a lot from each and every one of you. And I think these are issues that will get rid of that stigma, the false stigma that it's only an elderly man disease, which is not true. We have a lot of more unfortunate young onset like yourself, even from 30. And I heard even story someone in the 20s. So it's, it's happening and we need to address it, I think, head on.
Yeah, I think you're right. I do a presentation as often as I can around, live your life while you can, don't take your health for granted. And one of the things we say in that is, Parkinson's is one of the fastest growing neurological disorders in the world, but it's also impacting people younger and younger. And you're absolutely right. I mean, probably sharing too much here, but I know when I was talking to them about menopause, how can I live with my Parkinson's and exercise? If I do high cardio, that's not good for menopause. It's more weight training for menopause, which isn't as good for, Parkinson's. So this is why research is just so important. Research it, have all the options, and then work out what works best for you. That's the best way to move forward, I think.
And every topic you mentioned, I'm happy to discuss because, again, I think that there's a lot of tougher topics, and if we don't discuss them, then people will still be confused, alone, and lost. So I think if we keep bringing them up, like menopause, I've had that discussion on the show too. Obviously, I keep quiet, but I love to have you teach me and teach everyone out there. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Next area of the show I love to do is where we move to some fun questions. And I don't know why I always say fun questions because I hope the whole show is fun. But anyway, so
Go.
can you list 3 words that describe who you are?
Oh, goodness. Passionate. Would definitely be one. I would actually say unusual because I do think it's a bit unusual the extent that I go to try and live best quality of life. And I'm going to say healing because I work so much on healing myself and helping to heal others.
Those are amazing goals. And one question I have, which we're kind of doing now, but how do you think we can achieve more Parkinson's awareness, not just for people in our community, but people who do not have Parkinson's, people who are not caregivers, and people who aren't aware? Because I think the only way we're going to end this disease quickly, which we need it, obviously, is to bring those outside of the community into it and help support everyone also.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously what you're doing is outstanding. Just getting the conversation or having the conversations, to start with. And I think it's a little bit like, years ago I had a miscarriage and no one talked about miscarriages. And then if you started talking about it, you found out that, something like 1 in 4 women have miscarriages, and I think it's the same thing with Parkinson's. Everybody actually knows somebody that has got Parkinson's. But they're just, I know myself, some people, they find it really uncomfortable to even ask me how my Parkinson's is going because they don't want to upset me. But we've got to keep talking about it. We've got to keep doing these sorts of things, YouTube, books, social media, all of it. Keep doing the presentations. But if you know someone with Parkinson's, ask them how they're going, learn about what their day looks like. That would be a great start.
No, I agree. I just hope everyone again will share this show and support Lisa in the best you can, whether it's subscribing to her YouTube channel, which I'm going to provide, or purchasing a copy of her incredible book on Amazon. What is one moment, which is hard to narrow it down a bit, but one moment or most memorable moment that stands out through most of your work with awareness you can share?
Wow, that's a really tough question because there's been millions of them.
Sometimes I love the reaction to the question even more than the answer to the question.
Yeah, do you know what? It's probably honestly right now. I mean, I feel so honored to be a part of your journey, and thank you so very much. But it is these sorts of things that, if there's only 10 people that listen to this and go, God, you know what, today's going to be a good day. I'm not going to, worry about what's going on with me, then it's more than worth it. So it would be things like this for sure.
Thanks. That means a lot to me and why I continue to do this all hours of the
Oh,
day.
you're amazing.
What are some ways that you use, and I think exercise is likely one, but to combat Parkinson's?
Yeah, look, exercise for me is huge. I think if you don't move it, you're going to lose it. So exercise, and it doesn't have to be running marathons, but I think it's so important to move your body. But the other one for me is definitely mindfulness and meditation. I think that's critical. I know for myself, when I meditate, my symptoms stop. And it may only be for that period of time, but if anyone that lives with a significant tremor in their dominant hand, like I do, that little bit of peace is just like, oh, amazing. So, mindfulness, but there's so much that goes involved in it, isn't it? It's, what you eat, when you drink, how much sleep you get. It's the whole holistic, appreciation of wellness that is important.
Yeah, while I'm doing these shows, I kind of not just listening intently, but really interested because you just said a word that honestly I haven't heard much in 5 years, and that's meditation. I've interviewed someone who does Tai Chi and had other areas, but I don't think people know enough about it. Maybe after the show we can talk a little bit about doing a blog or something, but I think we need to get that word meditation out there because you never know how many people don't realize that you can do things like that or exercise to help slow the progression and also just to breathe and even caregivers too. This is an area that means a lot to me. The next question, and obviously to me, you're the face of this movie right now and the whole all your work. But there must be people in your life that help support you. So I like on our show to take a moment to thank those, your loved ones and support. Because without their care, I don't think any of us would be able to do this. So if there's someone, special and that helps you through the tougher times that we can all kind of acknowledge, but send love to also.
Yeah, look, my husband Simon is definitely my rock. I think, what I love about Simon is, he doesn't pander to me. And I do have times with Parkinson's that are really difficult and I'm in the fetal position crying. I'd be lying if that wasn't the case. But he's very positive with me and draws me into a positive mind frame really quickly. And of course, I've got two children, Zachary and Jamison, who are 22 and 23. And it's been tough for them. I've been quite a strong career woman in the past. And, now they see me some days not be so strong. So it's been a little bit of a tough journey for them, but they are so supportive. And I actually love the fact that they're now focused on their wellness at such a young age, as a result of my Parkinson's, and seeing, so they appreciate life a lot more than they probably would have if I wasn't diagnosed with Parkinson's. So it's another positive thing.
Yep. Well, tell them we send our love and support to them all and thank them for supporting you so you can help so many too throughout the world.
Thank
This
you.
has been a fun, interesting twist here, but if you were asked to write a script to a movie about your life story, what would you name it and what actress would play your role?
Oh my goodness, you are
We have
you
the
are
hard hitting question, and you do not have to answer. This is not you're not under arrest. You do not have the right to remain silent. Anything you say won't be used against you in court.
I don't know. Do you know what? If I was to write a script about my life, I would have a superhero cape, I think,
I like that.
because,
Like the
I just
book.
want
It's like you have on the back of the book.
yes, exactly. I just want to be seen as inspirational and positive and motivating. If I could achieve that, that would be wonderful.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm going to say Anne Hathaway
All right.
because she did that beautiful movie about Parkinson's. So,
Yeah, that was a tough movie. We actually just watched it a few weeks ago, but it was, graphic. I tell everyone to be careful with letting their kids see it. But I
yeah.
wish I wrote a little story or article on the media and how they really need to do more. Luckily, they have the Harrison Ford show now on Apple, which is shrinking, but I wish they had much, much more, to really get people aware of what Parkinson's is. If you
Mm.
had the opportunity to go back in time and speak to Lisa 10 years ago, would there be any advice you can give her about advocacy or Parkinson's?
Uh, um, yeah, I think I didn't embrace my wellness back then. I think that's the biggest thing. So whether, it's Parkinson's or cancer or unfortunately whatever illnesses people may have to go through in their life, I think I just wish I had have appreciated, my body and my mind back then, because my body is failing me now on some days, and that can be a bit sad. So yeah, the old Lisa or young Lisa, appreciate your body, appreciate your mind, and appreciate life a lot more than you did, rather than just let it go by. Just stop and embrace it.
Thank you. And if you had a theme song to your life story, what would it be? It's hard to follow up that question because it's not the always easiest answer. So I appreciate your honesty.
Do you know the first one that comes to mind is Eye of the Tiger? And I'm not quite sure why, but Tiger Woods being strong and capable, he just came out to that song. So it's empowering. So that would be it, I think.
That might be a good name of a title for a movie too. We just got it.
There you go.
Do you have a hero or who is your inspiration, but a hero?
Uh, I mean, obviously, Michael J. Fox is, I think not only watching how he lives with Parkinson's, but obviously what he's done for Parkinson's, the awareness he's created, and obviously the millions of dollars that's been created. I mean, he would definitely be up there. But even what you're doing, I mean, I remember a post I saw of yours. I think you're in hospital about to have surgery, and you were still like
Yeah. It's,
he was still posting, and I was like, oh my God, this guy is relentless. It's
uh,
amazing.
well, I
So well
unfortunately might
done.
be going back for a fifth back surgery. They just, unfortunately, like it's not like Parkinson's, it's a different world, but it's not much, the doctors just don't know what's wrong. So I always say though, forget about me. There's other people battling something much, more tough, which is Parkinson's, because I sat there through my mother's journey, holding her hand and never really knowing it. That's the toughest thing in my view as a caregiver, not as someone with Parkinson, but just kind of not knowing, what tomorrow will bring. Because
Mm.
I've we've met people who are 85, 90 with Parkinson's, and they're still, they're living. My mother was only 69, so we don't
Yeah.
understand what happened, why, but it's not everybody. So it's very complicated we started the show. But the only thing we can do is she lives on, in my opinion, through everybody I meet. And
Oh, absolutely.
we felt alone as a caregiver and someone with Parkinson's, and I don't want other people to feel like I did. That's what I would tell my 10-year ago self is, that's the most important thing is to support everyone. And it's hard because even in 2025, I've spoken about this before, but it's like people are shocked that someone like me is doing this tirelessly because obviously I can't bring my mother back, but I don't want anything. Like we don't want money. So, and people think there's got to be something like, the show Shark Tank where, but wait, there's more, in the back, somebody's
Yes, yes.
that person, there is no more. That's really literally it. And if you come to know me like everyone has, it's true. So just sad, any tragedy or thing that happens in the world, there's always someone who does try to do something weird with it.
That's right.
There are also more people, I think, that do want to, end this disease, and that's it. And until then, as everyone listening knows, Lisa and I will be side by side advocating for a cure, and not just for her, not just in memory of my mother, but for all of you too listening. So I really just wanted to thank you, Lisa, for your time and more important, friendship. I always say for the past, the today, and for the future. We still have a lot of work, as everyone knows, and it would be an honor to be able to advocate together again.
Oh, look, I'd love to. And I'm coming to America later this year, so
Okay.
I'm going
Well,
to come and see you.
that'll be amazing. Well, I do want to give you a message, and we have one final question. But before the message, is there something? Oh, also, please again go to Positively Parkinson's on YouTube and subscribe. It's free. Also, you'll be able to go to Amazon. Even right now, you don't have to wait till the show's over and look up Lisa Bradbury, and then just she'll pop up, which I'm going to follow too. But look up I Will Cure My Parkinson's. It's a beautiful book and something I think you should not just get for yourself, but for also others like caregivers and loved ones. But is there a message that you would be able to leave the Parkinson's community today, such as some words of encouragement?
Yeah, I think I heard a saying early on that said Parkinson's is a continual grieving process because, as it progresses, there's things that, you can't do one day that may, or you struggle with one day that you couldn't the next. But I guess my message would be we all have a choice. We all have a choice as to whether we're going to live an amazing life or we're not, whether we're going to be positive or we're not. And I think every time one of those moments hits you, where you could grieve at what you've lost, just look forward. Just look forward and go, there is going to be a cure. Medication technology is, getting better and better every day. So don't lose hope. Choose to be positive and choose to have a good quality of life because it is achievable with Parkinson's.
Well, I really appreciate it, and you can't follow that. That was beautiful. So I can't say much more, except we do have a little message for you, Lisa, and everyone listening. We love you, we support you, we care a lot about you, and you're never alone. And I, along with Lisa, will advocate for you from Australia to Florida to New York to France. It doesn't matter. I feel together our voices are so much stronger. And I always end the show by saying I'm just getting started because there are days where, like you said, I'm out of anesthesia and it probably should be resting, but I don't because I think of you, Lisa, and everyone listening, and also the others that I don't know about. There's people out there doing some beautiful, inspiring things or just struggling like my mother did, and we need to be their voice or help support them in any way we can. So, what an honor again today has been. And I always say also, once the lights, camera, and paparazzi leave today after the show, it doesn't end. We have to continue this fight. We have to continue to share the show. And we don't want anything in return except the cure. And until the cure comes, that everyone knows they're not alone. So please reach out to Lisa or myself. Thank you also again, Lisa, and thanks everyone for listening. This has been another episode of Q&A with Sharon and George. Please stay tuned. We have so much more to come, and I know we have a lot more work to do. So until the cure is at everybody's doorsteps around the world, Lisa and I will still be advocating together. So thank you, Lisa. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. We love you. Thanks.
Thank you. You are amazing.
You